Do you guys use Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
iPhone. Completely.
Future Google Pixel
Yeah.
Fold.
It's so funny. All three of us are using iPhones, and the entire ecosystem of Apple, and we are planning to talk about Google I/O.
But after watching the some of the things in Google I/O conference, I want to switch to Google sometime.
I'm a fanboy, Apple fanboy. I'm not going to shift into any of Google phones or anything, but I'll keep using Google Search, Chrome, and Gmail and all of that stuff.
Awesome, welcome back, boys. So we are talking about Google I/O today. I was super excited seeing a bunch of videos that have been roaming around the internet, and staying in Bay Area and super close to the Google headquarters. Right? I wish I was there in the place too, but yeah, sometime in the future we'll also get the invite as everything product team.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you guys want to start with? I think one of the biggest ones that we have seen is Google Pixel Fold, right? So maybe you want to start with that?
Yeah, that was one of the striking things that I found in the Google I/O conference. I felt the foldable phone that they came up with. It has like multiple options. You can convert into a tablet. You can convert into a phone. You can basically they have been integrated and put a lot of AI into that. So and it's a large screen, 7.6 inch, I think. So and I really like the experience and also how you can do multitasking at the same time within the phone. You can do messaging, you can basically send emails at the same time, watch video on the left screen. So I was also in that I also learned that it was a pretty durable foldable phone compared to anything in the market. I know Samsung also has a similar phone, but Google markets that as one of the most durable in the foldable phone. Overall, I was really amazed with that innovation and the price point. I think they kept it at 1799, which is not. I know it's little slightly expensive than probably any of the Apple phones, but I think it's pretty close to the Samsung foldable phone, which probably gives a good competitive advantage. And another thing which I've also found that they are only accepting pre-orders now, and they're also giving an Google watch as well, the Pixel watch for free for limited period of time if you place a pre-order. So which is a big good deal, I feel.
I'll be honest, right? In Google I/O or any I/O, honestly, or any of the big conference, they'll tell the same thing. They say, dude, we are taking pre-orders, and this is the best one. This is the best one compared to all the others. But I agree. Price point is very similar to what they're doing with Samsung. Even phone-wise, at least the way I saw it, is exactly exact replica of what Samsung has done in the last year or so.
Yeah, I feel that that's a lot of screen, right? So there's like three screens in one phone. So that's a lot to me. So yeah, I think Samsung has initially started these foldable phones, and then Microsoft released their own ones, and now Google is kind of following the suit of doing this. But I feel that, there is a separate fan base or a user base who might be using these phones, but the regular individual, this wouldn't be a regular go-to phone for a lot of people, I assume, right? Because yeah, there could be people who are like multitasking, as Srinath was saying, and maybe this phone would be something which would actually help them just have a phone instead of having a laptop and a phone or something like that, right? Similarly, where they do a lot of things and they also travel and kind of things. But I think this also um, opens up a new avenue for Google, right? So Google initially was a search engine, and then it started moving into more of hardware, right? They launched the Chromebook, they launched their flagship phone, and then they have their earbuds. Now they're also experimenting with different kinds of phones. That actually adds Google as a competitor to already existing brands, right? Apple and Samsung as of now, and now Google has also joined the race of all of these things, right? So yeah, that's an interesting space to be at, I'd say. But I would say it's still new, so the phones will get better and better. But still, that's a very very small segment of people who will be using those phones, I'd say.
Yeah, it's
One
only the
thing,
premium segment, right? because it's only the people who want to spend money on tech, and they don't really care about um, how good the phone is, how reliable or stable the phone is. It's just like, hey, Google released it, I'm just gonna try it out. What is your favorite thing from the latest Google I/O announcements? Let us know in the comment section.
One big use case which I want to add here is like a parents like me who have kids. I'm sure you guys will realize in future is if I open the phone, if I'm playing a Coco Melon video to my daughter, I can't do anything else in the phone. Literally, I have to make it so big, and it makes it entirely my phone is dedicated for her Coco Melon. Versus when I something gets like something like this, I probably will be able to play half screen of Coco Melon and half screen I can do some of the work.
You wish, Srinath, you wish. Now the entire screen will go to Cocomelon now.
Yeah, I wish.
The bigger the better, right?
Exactly.
Yep. But yeah, I'm super glad that they did it, because at the end of the day, it's always a race. You're a tech company, you're trying to compete with like Samsungs and Apples of the world. But Apple always has this philosophy, right? They always come late into the market, but the product will be exceptional compared to all the other companies. But Google is not like that. Google has to compete with everyone else, and they have to show that they are in cutting edge of the technology. So in order for them to prove that, they have to do this. So that's why that's the reason I think they have to do it, and they did it. Yep. And that's the same thing that's happening with AI as well, right? If Apple comes and says after 4 years also that I have an AI LLM, people will still be fine. If Google doesn't say that now, people will be like, dude, what the hell is going on?
It'll be interesting to see how Apple will actually do the comeback, right? Maybe that's something which everybody's like excited about.
The next one that was very interesting for me was the Magic Editor, and all of us use the Google Photos, right? And I use a lot of other tools as well to edit and stuff. And when Sundar was going through the presentation, he showed a kid who was holding some balloons, and the balloons were cut in the picture. He was like, you can easily move the bench, the kid, and the balloons, and it'll automatically fill with the additional things that's needed. It's like, dude, this is amazing, because the biggest things of AI is image generation, and they were accomplishing that with Google Photos. What did you guys think about that?
Yeah, it's impressive. I think Google has been using AI for a lot of years, right? With in all of its products, right? But now it's stepping its game, right? Where we have seen like AI in every moment of the presentation talking about AI and all of that stuff. But yeah, this is cool, right? Anybody who wants to take images and enhance how they look and all of that stuff. So this kind of a very easy tool to do that stuff.
Yeah, Sidhu said. I was also I'm amazed by the that magic editor feature. I mean, for instance, I myself when I go to trips, when I'm especially when we go to touristy places, I mean, there's so much crowd. Sometimes you may not get the picture like you wanted, but with this, I feel like, oh, okay, I can click better pictures. I can satisfy my wife, especially with the photos. I mean, which she always says that I disappoint her with photos.
No, but the funny part
Um,
was Google One. They didn't talk about Google One at all. But the way I think about all of these features are additional revenue making businesses for Google, because at the end of the day, even now, there's a feature called Magic Eraser. The way they're trying to attract the customers to use that is get a subscription, pay for Google One, you'll get these features. I'm sure they'll come with additional premium packages for Google One, and then add all of these additional things like the magic editor and stuff, so that people will continue to pay.
so this editor, is that free or is it a subscription
I don't
on
think they
top of it?
told anything in the IO, but I'm sure
Okay.
they'll include it in one of the premium packages that comes under Google. My guess.
Yeah, maybe if they would offer this inside the Google Photos app, right? Maybe I'll get the subscription because I wouldn't want to change my phone, but I would want to have that feature in editing my photos.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to, because it would make sense for them to like extend to all Google Photos apps, not just Android. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Actually, let's do a natural switch to this one, right? Google Workspace. I think
Mhm.
the best thing for me in Google I/O was extending their AI into Google Workspace, because that's one of the most used things from a Google standpoint, right? Be it Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, everything we use it on a daily basis, and having that natural extension of AI would be awesome, because now if I go to Bard and type something, instead of going to Bard while writing a document, I can do that. That's awesome. I mean, I know it's the simplistic feature that they built, but that's the best one for me in the Google I/O. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I found it to be pretty insightful. And I mean, in my previous company, we used Google Suite. So that, I mean, I think especially when you're collaborating with so many folks, and when you are so much into this Google Docs and Google Sheets, this really will be helpful. And I feel like I can do it way faster than I was, honestly, when I was using Google Suite. So I think this will be probably a game changer for Google to expand their market share, increase their market share, expand their footprint against the Microsoft, the Office.
Yeah.
What do you think, Siddhi?
So yeah, so I have a couple of thoughts here. So when we look at Microsoft Office Suite, right, it's more like you have Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and all of that stuff. I was thinking like, where do I use it? Most of these things I just used at work. But when it comes to Google, right, it's Google Search. In the Office suite, it's more like Gmail, Google Drive, Docs, Sheets, Slides, and all. For all of my personal work, I use Google's stuff, right? It's more easy, accessible. I can open it in any device and all of that stuff. So I'd say uh, there's a clear demarcation, right, where there is products that are more towards used in office space and products that are more used towards in personal space, right? So I feel that Google adding the AI assistant, it's called Duet or something, right? Duet AI,
Do
adding
it.
it basically helps Duet retain all of its users, right? So, previously when Microsoft introduced all of these things, people were like, okay, yeah, this is a cool killer feature and all of that stuff. Even though Google Bard is not as good as ChatGPT, I feel that adding this basically would help them retain their market, right? And I wouldn't just shift to a different ecosystem for these features, right? So I think this will basically help them retain their market, and also maybe once they have more and more enhancements, they would kind of acquire more customers as they go.
For
So
me, it is
that's my take.
actually For me,
Yeah.
it is actually both, Sidhu, because I use Google both at work and for my personal stuff. So that way, it's awesome. Even, I mean, especially for product managers, right? We live and breathe docs, sheets, and slides. And if I can generate images automatically on slides with just few words, which exactly caters to the content that I'm publishing, or if I can give a spreadsheet and then it can automatically give me some insights, especially from Google, those are awesome. Hope you're liking this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.
One other thing funny, somehow it's difficult for me to demarcate this personal and office space, right? Because when I have Microsoft apps, right, all of that is basically linked to one account, and I'm not able to copy information outside my work email into either other docs and all of that stuff. But the Google ecosystem help, there are no restrictions of that sort. So it helps me do all of those things, right? Copy here, move information here and there, and all of that stuff. So it's that thin line where Microsoft have to also manage organizational data, and also because people also use a lot of work stuff in their personal phones, right? And somehow cater towards this users who use it for personal use. So yeah, I feel that there's a distinction there.
Yeah. And it mainly helps, like you said, right? It mainly helps in keeping customers within their Google Workspace, because
Yep.
if someone is at an edge, like when they're trying to decide if they want to go with Google Workspace or Microsoft, this will be a differentiating factor. I'm sure people will be like, dude, there is an AI integration there. Why would I go to Google? They're just trying to make sure those customers don't go away just because of these features.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
at least this piece was like a very big answer back to Microsoft, let's saying that we are also integrating all of this stuff. So yeah, our users stay back and watch out.
Yeah. Let's switch to maps. I was very impressed when Sundar was talking about maps, right? Where he was basically telling that, okay, you're mapping to something, and then you don't know what route to take, and imagine a situation where you can get an immersive view of everything that goes through that route. That visual was amazing because now I can clearly see how the route would look like. Is it going through internal roads? Is it going through, especially when you're going on a long trip, right? If you can figure out roads that are like more scenic, or if you can figure out routes that are like right next to water, right next to hills, those could be very interesting for you to drive. So this could help a lot in terms of trip planning or just the driving experience in general. What do you guys think?
Yeah, same. I mean, I am myself, like, especially when I'm going on trips, I spend at least the day before a lot of time on kind of figuring out all this, to be honest. What you were referring to, like, which is the most scenic road? Probably, can I drive through ocean? Okay, if I'm driving through ocean, what would that experience look like? Sometimes on the maps, it may look like, oh, you may see water, but in reality, there may be so many other blockers that you'll not be able to see. So I try to figure that out. I mean, at least I spend like 2 3 hours the day before figuring that out. But this makes it so easy to figure out and find out the best route.
Actually, I'll add one more thing, right? So especially as PMs, why they didn't have to do that. They have like huge market share in terms of maps. Why did they have to like add these additional things? At least what I feel like is in the last few years, they have been losing that competitive edge with Apple Maps. I don't know if you guys used Apple Maps or not. It's very nice. At least the way they think about guiding the customers was super helpful. It was like take a, I don't know, simple things that they do in Apple Maps was really intuitive than Google Maps. So I think they're trying to like bring some of these features so that they get that competitive advantage once again over the other alternatives right now. Cool. Let's switch to the next one. Let's go to the basics, right? Google as a platform is primarily based for search, and now there is a Bard integration. I don't know what are they called. They call yeah, are they calling that Snapchat? Sorry,
Yeah,
Snapshot.
yeah. They're calling it as snapshots.
What do you guys think about that?
It's an interesting product, right? So I was basically thinking about it, like how did search started? Search was basically Google ranking all the different pages based on backlinks and all of that stuff, and help people find information, right? So that's how Google started and disrupted all the previous search engines, and that's their core bread and butter and core product, right? Now Microsoft comes in saying, hey, the regular search just caters to 50% of the people who do search, and it's not a really efficient way of doing it. Google was good at it, but not now. Now we are integrating ChatGPT into Bing and Edge, where when you divide the whole search traffic, right, it's divided into more like informational, navigational, and everything other, right? Everything other is more complex queries and all of that stuff. So Microsoft came in and saying that the informational piece is good but not that great. Now if you imagine, right, like you are searching for finding a sofa in your apartment or a house, right? You get list of options, but that's not customized to your taste, your price, and all of that stuff. So that's the more complex stuff. So Microsoft basically is saying that, okay, the other 50% of the search queries could be answered by this chatbot, and that's a difficult situation to be at for Google, right? Because Google has a product which is its core product, and now its competitor created a product which is better and which is basically cannibalizing Google's product, right? So that's an interesting space to be at in Google space. Now Google saying, yeah, we'll maybe come back with a better version of it, and we'll integrate all of this to Google search, and we'll call it Google Snapshot. That's really I would say uh, interesting move from Google side, because that will actually cannibalize and their market, but also open new avenues, right, where they can integrate ads into the search. So I felt that this was an interesting approach which they took, where because Google has far more data than Microsoft, and Google has far more apps which people use, right? They have Google Shopping, they have Maps, and all of these things. So they could also integrate these things into the chatbots which they have. So overall, yeah, I think this is the right space for Google to be at, and it's a good reply back to Microsoft's strategy of integrating ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Srinath, what do you
I
think?
mean, I think the power for Google is data. I mean, they've been collecting the data since a long time, and probably, I mean, adding this, additional feature on top of their search, probably, I mean, the way to go forward. And I really liked, especially how you don't need to worry about the follow up questions. You don't need to worry about the what are the different questions I can ask whenever you start doing research, right? For example, an user experience designer or user research guy, when they do the research, they have to write a ton of questions to identify the right pain point and figure out the pain points and all that stuff. And that use case, I think this makes it so easy that whenever you type your first question, it will tell you the follow-up prompts. What are the different questions you can ask to make sure your research is so comprehensive? I think as a PM or as user experience designer, research guy, this is going to be a very handy tool out there to do any competitive analysis or market research when you're launching probably products in new marketplaces and all that stuff. So I was really amazed with that feature as well. It was extensive, and one of the striking things which I also found that you can easily export it. So as a product guy, I
Yeah.
think you will probably need all that.
Yeah. So one other comment I have is, so I think Google has to do it in a very careful way, because they have a very big user base, right? More than 3 billion users use their product. So, doing something that is like half baked would basically hurt all of their reputation, or, the user base which they cater towards, right? So I think they have taken a strategic step towards the right direction, even though it's little late in the game. I think that's the right strategy which they've taken.
So overall, let's look at the search industry. Okay. So when we look at the search industry, I was just Googling it as we talk through. So if you see this market share data, right? I mean, obviously it's going for like way longer period. But if you think of like Google's market share for search, again, this is specifically talking about desktop. Maybe we can look at mobile too. But Google's market share has reduced a little bit, probably like 85. I mean, it was at 88, 89, and it's now at like 85%. But if you think of Bing, it has been like gradually increasing. Like it's at what, 8% right now? I mean, it was at 9, I think, probably when um, they were just launching and stuff. But still, they continue to stay at the same percentage. So all Google is trying to do is not lose more market share because of the additional launches that they're doing. Rather, keep their current customers into the same search. I don't know. If
Yeah.
Bard is integrated with Google, and if they're able to give similar functionality, I would never switch to Bing.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, similar, right? Even lesser, right? If it's like at least 80% up to the mark, I would still use Google. I wouldn't use any other search engine.
Somehow
But
can't
I'm
get out of
actually,
Chrome.
yeah, that's right. So I've been using Edge for last 1 month, for the chatbot and all of that stuff, but it's still not that easy to navigate for me. I'm not saying that the design is not innovative, but I'm so used to Chrome that I have to basically think through when I use a new browser, right? And go through Google search. Even the color fonts are a little different when you do a Google search. The search results might be same when you do it the same thing in Bing, but the color fonts are different. That's also kind of little uneasy for me because we are so used to Chrome.
That is true.
Yeah.
And
So also in the space, I feel that there is a lot of things that change, right? Preliminarily, the way people look at data would change fundamentally. So I feel that imagine previously there were blogs and websites who used to write information, and they used to do SEO to rank in the Google search engine. Now the user is not searching for keywords, but he's actually asking a question to a bot, which actually displays the information for him, right? Imagine how the SEO world would change, the page ranking would change, and also people writing blogs and newsletters, how their views would change, right? So that's all something which I think would take do there would be a disruption in all of these areas, I'd say.
Yeah, last time we
Yeah.
were talking about it, right? The monetization part of it. Because Google might not take a hit in terms of monetization. The people who take a hit in terms of monetization are the actual websites who are giving that information. But one good thing compared to ChatGPT or Bing that Bard or the snapshot is doing really good is once they give the result, they're giving some additional resources. Like you can look at this video, you can look at this article. So that way, at least they're trying to make sure the customers will still continue to come create content. And they're also trying to make sure to push that content so that the people are more encouraged about that.
Yeah, I
That's one
love
thing.
the
Yeah.
way how Google actually integrated it, right? So when you look at Bing, if I do a search for a bicycle, it gives me a list of things and maybe a couple of places where I can buy that bicycle. But Google gives a summary, gives all the list of things that fall in that range using Google Shopping, and also they have an ad space on top where they are advertising for that specific bicycles, right? So they're actually trying to also have that revenue generation piece into the snapshot itself. So I love the way which they were doing it. I think this was the one which we were talking, right? How would because how will Google make money through Google search when people look at more ads, the advertisers pay Google ads, ad revenue and all of that stuff, right? Now people are spending less time searching for information. How would they raise money? But now including this in ads into the experience would be a good path towards that, right?
That's true, but I don't know. I was never a fan of that Google Shopping. They keep presenting that in every Google I/O in, with one thing or the other. But I think they should be using other things as well to promote. I don't know. I was never a big fan of that Google Shopping. Yeah. Cool. What else do we have?
I think there was a topic around responsible AI as well.
Oh yeah, I love that because I don't know, Sidhu, if you remember or not, last time when we spoke about it, right? One of the big things is actually identifying whether it's a AI generated image or not. I like that analogy that Sundar gave it. I think he was talking to Mr. Who's the Boss and he mentioned this one. He's like, when guests come to your house will be like super clean, but that's not the actual reality. So the same thing applies here as well, right? There's a bunch of images on the web which could be AI fake, but we should do things as much as possible to make it clear for the customer. So they're giving some additional information on when an image like this was first identified. So if it is identified something last year, and if you're talking about like moon landing, which basically means this could be a fake. And they're also trying to put some principles on like how do we tell that is an AI generated image and stuff. So that's good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think even in last podcast we discussed this, funny. So you are thinking of having a marker or something, and looks like Google is adding metadata to that image to know if it's AI generated or not. So we are actually creating solutions for them.
all
No, actually,
morphers all morphers out there, I think it's a big challenge for them going forward after this feature is launched.
Yeah,
I like that thought, right? Because when we were discussing, we were only talking about a watermark. They might be doing a watermark in the back, but I think the better way to do it is through metadata. Because when
that's right.
people
Yeah.
search for it, they might be ranking the AI images lower than the original images and stuff. So that way they'll be eliminating some of this clunk that is being created.
Definitely.
Yep. Actually, I want to talk quickly about this one as well, right? Their Starline. So I've seen this video. I don't think they spoke about this in the Google I/O, but this is their immersive metaverse. So imagine two people sitting in like, let's say Srinath, you're in Seattle and I'm here in Bay Area. If we both are talking right now, it's a video. So all I see about you is a two-dimensional picture of a person. But imagine a view where I can get a three-dimensional view of how you're looking, how about things that you're doing, how you're moving your hands, etc. It'll give a much more immersive experience for a meeting. So they released one version of that, but it's very involved. What I mean by that is they have a huge setup for both the people. It's almost like you're sitting in a cubicle with a bunch of cameras in the front of you, which is taking different angles of you and then projecting the same thing for the opposite person. That was also very interesting because I know metaverse is not at all a buzzword right now, but continuing to work on that and making that happen is super helpful, especially in the world we are living in right now.
Metaverse is a thing. It was a thing before. Not, but yeah, yeah, AI has been the latest buzz rate and the biggest bubble as of now. So let's see how things move on from there.
Yeah, especially in all this remote world, I'm sure that's going to bring some good engagement, collaboration, and all that stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing all of your thoughts, guys. For everyone who's watching, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Please subscribe.